Hi there, today I thought I would show you how I make my nectarine or peach salsa that I use on my fish tacos. So one of our favorite things as a family is we like to go boating and walleye fishing. And so when we catch fish, one of our absolute favorite things to do is have a fish fry. And it's nice to change it up sometimes and have fish tacos. So I wanted to can up my recipe for my salsa for fish tacos, and that's what I'm doing here. So to a pot, I chopped up one small patty pan summer squash, and this is one small zucchini. I just picked them out of my garden. They're nice and fresh ingredients, really, really good size to be using in these batches. Not too big, not too small. I like using this little chopper. I got it on Amazon. This is my second year with it, and it's amazing. It makes fast work out of stuff like this. I went to the greenhouse and I grabbed a couple of, or there was like 4 little teeny red onions, but I would use about 1 medium red onion chopped up. This little tool, I love it so much. I will tell you, I've cut myself on it many times, so I put it in the dishwasher to clean it, and it's held up. I've done 2 canning seasons with this little chopper, and it's great. I love how perfect the pieces are. Everything's uniform, and it's wonderful. So to my salsa, I'm going to add 3 peppers, 1 of each color, 1 green bell. It's a larger one. It's probably a little bit too big for this recipe, that bell pepper, but I would say 3 medium-sized bells, 1 of each color, or, well, whatever color you choose. I like the red and the orange and the green because usually the inside of nectarines are a yellow, so I chose to use orange instead of yellow today. But it turns out, as you'll see in a bit, the nectarines were more orangey than yellow, but that's okay. It still looks pretty in the jar. Another great alternative would be using like a black beauty pepper. That would add a lot of color and interest and a lot of great flavor into this recipe. But I'm just doing the same thing, chopping on the same screen, on the same size of chopper for all the peppers and everything. I did take 2 heads of garlic. I have some medium-sized heads of garlic, and I used two whole heads. What that was like, I don't even know how many cloves. It was really big cloves of garlic, and I really like the flavor of having lots and lots of garlic in this salsa. And then I took a bunch of jalapenos. Now this is totally based on your preference. Some people like it mild, so I put like 2 or 3. We like it hot, and as I process, I know that it'll lose some heat, so I put in a schwack of jalapeno peppers. But you could use habanero for more fruity flavor. It's just all preference. This is how I do this, and you know, it's the sky's the limit. As long as it's acidic enough, you can can it. It's good, but I really, it doesn't matter with how much heat you add. It's all up to you. So next I chopped up 7 nectarines, and I did the same thing, same size, same setting on this little chopper, quick and easy peasy, and in it went. And yeah, these nectarines, it was really expensive, and they aren't that great, but they're gonna go a long ways. I'm getting my money worth out of them in this canning session. So I put in 1/3 of lime juice and 1 cup of apple cider vinegar. Now you could use regular vinegar if you prefer, or however you choose to make your salsa. That's entirely up to you. Then I added 1 cup it was actually 1 1/4 cup of white sugar. This is cane sugar. It's actually kind of a yellow sugar because it's organic cane sugar. So it does make it a little bit more rich in color. And then this is some water. I added about 1/4 cup of water and a teaspoon of salt, sea salt, into it went, and I gave it a good mix. You always want to make sure that you add your acid immediately after or immediately before you put in your nectarines or peaches, because If you don't, they'll start to brown. So you want to, if you add your acidity in before, as soon as you add your peaches or nectarines, you want to mix it, and then, or after, mix it so that you don't get any discoloration. I decided I wanted to add 2 more tablespoons of lemon or lime juice. I could have used lemon juice instead too, but I wanted more lime flavor. I just wanted a little bit more. I could tell that I wanted it just a bit more acidic with the lime. Lime is actually more acidic than the vinegar. So I know that this is safe to can because it is very acidic and whatnot. So, but I do take precautions later on in the jar. You'll see what I do to make sure it's safe to can. So I just give it a really good stir and I simmer it for about 10 minutes. I think it was 5 to 10 minutes. I think it was 8 minutes, to be honest. Around 8 minutes, I gave it another good stir, made sure it was heated through, and then I added 2 tablespoons of dried cilantro. Since my stuff in the garden bolted, I didn't want to use that, so I used dry stuff. I just gave it a good mix. The heat was shut off, checked my jars, pulled them out of the canner, and into those hot jars, I added a half of a teaspoon of lime juice into each and every individual jar. And then I added my salsa into each one. Now this will have a really nice lime flavor, a sweet lime flavor when I use it on my fish tacos. And so that's how I do this. This is what I do. I know there's so many rules to follow with canning and whatnot, but use your own discretion, do your own research, and get creative. That's that's my motto in my kitchen. Don't be afraid to try things out as long as you get a general understanding in canning of how to make sure it's safe to can. It doesn't have to always come from a book. When it comes to water bath canning, it has to be acidic to be shelf stable, or it has to have enough sweetness. This dish has sweetness and it has a lot of acidity. It has vinegar, it has lime juice. I am very confident in this recipe considering I only have 5 pints and in what I'm doing. So this is how when I feel confident in feeding this to my family, but use your own discretion if you're going to be doing some canning. I always make sure to take some vinegar, white distilled vinegar, and I dip a paper towel in it and I wipe the rims of the jars. I want to make sure there's no chips in the tops of the jars, and I want to make sure they're not sticky so that they have a really good seal. And that's just one of the things I do. What I do with the remainder of the vinegar is I dump it in the water I'm going to be canning in to keep the jars from discoloring. As you can see, I have the lids in the water. It's not necessary to boil lids, but I did put them in there to disinfect them into the hot water and get the seals all ready to be sealed. Now, these are not a brand name. These are some that I ordered off of Amazon when we had a lid shortage and I wanted to use them up. And so I wanted to make sure that they were going to have a good seal. I am using a stock pot. I am not using a canner. This is my aunt's stock pot that I received after her passing, and she's such a huge important part of my life that I always like using her stock pot to do my water bath canning for small batches. And so what I do is I lay a microfiber cloth on the bottom. It doesn't have to be microfiber. I just happen to use it because it works best for me. And I put that in the bottom of the pot, and then I add my jars. And that's it. I do my water bath canning in a stock pot. I do add water. A lot of people don't know that you can still seal the jar without the water being up over the top of the jar. But it is a good practice to cover the jar with water to get a good seal. So I processed it for 20 minutes. When with the boiling water at a slow rolling boil in the canner or stock pot, and I let that go for 20 minutes. I shut it off for 5 with the lid off, and then I pulled the jars out, and this is how they look. Well, thank you for watching my little video on how I make my fish taco salsa, or nectarine or peach salsa. I hope it inspires you to try something new, to can up some of the stuff that is growing in your garden. And I hope you enjoyed today's little video. Thanks for watching. Much love. Bye for now.